Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing this word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakwadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, and what I want to get into this morning, is dealing with the war within, Satan's last stand. All right, the war within and Satan's last stand. Okay, because as we mature, in the ministry, mature in the faith, as we begin to operate with more discipline, we begin to conquer more of the external, lust, all right, the external things in our walk. Well, Satan takes the war inwardly. You see, whenever external things don't have a stronghold on us like they used to, like I say, as we mature, and grow in the faith, grow in discipline, really begin to live this thing and separate ourselves and isolate, and begin to overcome, particular external, all right, temptations. Well, the devil, all right, Satan, he takes the fight on the inside, okay, which is in our minds. We have to be aware of it. This is a part of what spiritual warfare. It's another level of spiritual warfare. And as we're getting close to the end, Satan, okay, is going to make his last stand to attempt to overthrow us inwardly, to agitate us inwardly. And that's why Yahweh Shai told Peter, which was the head of the church, Luke 22:31, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan have desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. Okay? So Yahweh Shai is putting Peter, okay, on game, like, look, Satan desire you, because Satan's job is to tempt the believers. See, 2/3 are in self-destruct mode. They're already, on self-destruct mode. All right, when you really get into it, man, Satan, his thing is to disrupt the believers, and his whole thing is to cause disruption, man. When it causes disruption to progress in the spirit, it's Satan. And as we, mature in this thing, we have to learn how to identify Satan more. Speaking to myself first and foremost, man. When it causes us to be distracted, when it causes disruption, when it causes unnecessary strife, when it makes something out of nothing, that's Satan, man. And that's what Satan is tasked to do, going to and fro, all right, throughout the earth, seeing what he can shake up, man, especially amongst the believers, man. Okay? So when you go into this word, sift, all right, as you read again, Luke 22, and 31, it says, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan have desired to have you, that he may sift you, okay, as wheat. So let's go into this word wheat. Sift. Okay. So you go into the word sift in the Greek.
46:17, Siniazo. Siniazo.
Siniazo. Okay. Now it says to sift, to shake in a seed. It says by inward agitation, all right, by inward agitation to try, all right, one's faith to the verge of overthrow. Okay, figuratively, by inward agitation to try one's faith to the verge of overthrow. Okay, so Satan is always trying to agitate. There's times when he draw back, and then there's times he come back, all right, to try what? Inward agitation, man. Okay, to get us to believe, in false narratives. Okay, to plant seeds of falsehood, of delusion. Have us tripping. To poke at us. You see, jump on people. Satan jump on people to poke at us, man. To agitate us, man. And it's for the and Satan wants to overthrow the faith, man. You know, he wants believers to get agitated to the point to where it overthrows our faith, man. He wants us constantly frustrated. He wants us constantly anxious. He wants us constantly worried. Okay? He wants us constantly in doubt mode. Okay? To the point to where he can get us so weakened to where he wants to overthrow us, man. Okay? And we got to be mindful of that, man. This is part of the warfare. This is part of the condition of the battle. You see? When you go here, that's why when you get the book of Sirach, chapter 30, verse 21, it says, give not thy mind over to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thy own counsel. Okay? And that's what Satan, is an expert in having us worry about things that don't matter. Okay? Looking at things from the wrong perspective. Where only seeing the negative in everything. All right? Having these false assumptions about people, about situations. There's a lot of times, man, Satan, have you thinking a certain way about a brother, and it'd be the exact opposite, man. You talk to their brother, man, it'd be the exact opposite, man. You like, damn, this nigga Satan, man. That's what this nigga do, man. He wants to cause disruption wherever he can. And if he can get a false narrative started, all right, he'll have you looking at, the brotherhood in a certain way. He'll have you looking at the camp in a certain way. He'll have you making it seem like everybody against you, and it's some type of conspiracy against you. Straight tripping, all based off of falsehood. None of it's true, man. Okay, this nigga is lying. How you thinking you right? You be wrong as hell. And I'm speaking from experience, man. Satan have you thinking you got a case, you got all these receipts, okay? But it's all based on false narratives, man. It's a deception. It's a scheme of Satan, So he'll have you giving your mind. We'll be in our own head, because I know that's one of my things, man. Because I be in thought, but see, the same thing that can be a gift can be, a curse. And Satan use any avenue he can get in. This nigga is real crafty, man. This nigga use any avenue, man. Any emotion, any past trauma, any insecurity, anything that he can, man, he'll use it and leverage it against us, man. And Satan speaks in our voice, so it sounds like us. It sounds like it's our authentic idea, but it's Satan planting seeds and manipulating, man. Okay, and have us, we read verse 21, give not over thy mind to heaviness, man. He'll have us with a heavy mind. And the situation don't even be that deep. You don't even be that serious, man. You looking at everything and make it like it's so deep and, it's so serious. It don't even be that serious, man. Okay? Majority of the time, ain't nobody even thinking about our ass like that, man. Satan have us thinking we way more important. Satan have us in this selfish spirit. He play our selfishness too, man. And another thing, if Satan is able to play on it, that exposes something within us we need to address, man. If Satan is able to leverage it against us, that means there's something in us that we need to address, man, and adjust, man. Pray on, fast on, man. You see, you gotta be honest with yourself. Like, damn, I'm selfish. Like, damn, I got a little pride in me. Damn, I got a little insecurity in me. You gotta really claim it, and then you can begin. You can't be dishonest about it and just say, that goddamn Satan. Yeah, it was Satan, but what did he play on? Okay, yeah, it was Satan, but what did he play on? That's the issue. That's what we need to address to take that away, so Satan don't have that leverage anymore, man. You see? So, it says, give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thy own counsel, man. Just running these false scenarios and these false assumptions in our mind and trying to screen up a story, all right, to justify you see these false assumptions, man. Okay? And I want to get this point. I want to get this account. When you go to the book of matter of fact, it's the same book. It's the book of Luke chapter 22 and verse 1. Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover. And the chief priests and the scribes saw how they might kill him, for they feared the people. Then entered Satan with Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. And he went his way and communed with the chief priests and captains how he might betray them. So it said, then entered Satan into Judas. So for Judas to fulfill what he needed to do on the left-hand side, Satan had to enter into him. He was being influenced by Satan. So every action that he takes from this point on is influenced by Satan. You know? And what Satan wants to do, he loves to plant seeds where it can grow to where now his influence is growing in us, man. And we begin to move and operate under the influence of Satan. This happens in the truth. You know, Satan plays these games. Have you around the brothers in the off spirit? Have you mad at your woman and she really ain't did nothing? Okay, having you with an off spirit. You know, even have you tripping with people in the world and you know, you see, Satan have us in the off spirit, man. Okay, to get us to crash out, because Satan wants us to crash out. He wants us to have nigga moments, man. Okay? He wants us to look crazy. He wants us to bring up these things that ain't true, to have us looking crazy as hell, man. Okay? That's the objective, man, to get us to crash out. You know, to keep us offended, constantly offended. You just offended. Everything is offensive now. Everything is an offense now. Okay, based on false narratives, man. You see? And these are games that Satan play. Okay, to plant the seed, water that seed, you know, so it can grow into influence. Okay? Like you see these niggas, 2/3 niggas wilding out, the young hoes, they're fully possessed by Satan. They're influenced by Satan. He's in full control of their decision making, their rationality. You know, he is in full control. And he tries that with believers, man. Okay? But there's a spirit, a Holy Spirit that's within us that makes us aware of this, man. Aware of this nigga, man. You see, 2/3, they don't have no awareness. Satan just got free range. You know? But for the believers, we have a spirit that's in us that makes us aware of these things. And then we have the body. Because even sometimes we're not aware of the spirit on us, man. That's why when we get around brothers, we feel different. You know, it's like we get lighter. You know, because Satan be in there trying to conjure something up. He be beginning something. You get around brothers and the nigga have to flee. Because you're around all those spirits, man. Those spirits on the right hand. Okay? And it says, then into Satan, into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. And he went his way and communed with the chief priests and captains, how he might betray him unto them. How he might betray him unto them. Okay? So before Judas, you know, went and did the betrayal, Satan had to enter into him. And guess what? When Satan left, all right, Matthew 27 and 3, it says, I started at 1, it says, when the morning was come, all the chief priests and the elders of the people took counsel against Yahushua to put him to death. And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor. All right, now this is verse 3 in the NLT. When Judas, who had betrayed him, realized that Yahushua had been condemned to die, okay, he was filled with remorse. The spirit was off him now. Satan was gone because he did what he needed him to do, which would deliver Yahushua to the chief priests, and chief priests deliver Yahushua to Pilate to be crucified. So he's seeing this play out, and Satan ain't on him no more. You see? So now he's like, shit. You know? Now now he's condemned. You see? It says he was filled with remorse, so he took the 30 pieces of silver back to the leading priests and to the elders. I have sinned, he declared, for I have betrayed an innocent man. What do we care? They retorted, that's your problem. So he tried to get the money back. They were like, nah, you don't did what you did. We done paid you. That's your problem. You feeling guilty about it. That's your problem. Because see, these cheap priests, these niggas was fully possessed by Satan. You see? So they didn't have no remorse. You see? They didn't have any remorse. Satan was still fully on them. Okay? They were fully possessed. Satan hopped on Judas to do what he did. Their betrayal. Okay? And then it hopped back off of him, man. You see? It says, I have sinned. Now verse 5 says, then Judas threw the silver coins down in the temple because he was so convicted he didn't even want the money. And he went and hanged himself, man. You see? And that's what Satan wants us to do. He wants us to hang ourselves, man. Okay? Off these false narratives, all these false assumptions. Okay? He wants us to go hang ourselves, man. He wants us to be so condemned, okay, in the spirit, that we tap out in the spirit. We hang ourselves in the spirit, man. You see? And this is what Satan wants. He wants us to self-sabotage our own situation, man. By these false assumptions, man. By this inward agitation, man. Okay? Many men have fell weak to those inward agitation, like they was the victim, the whole camp was against them, and this and that. It's a lie. Okay? This the games that he played. You see? But that's why we have to as the scriptures say. Let's go here. What's that? 2 Corinthians 13:5. It said, examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves. We got to know what's going on within us. Like, okay, Satan got us tripping. We should get to the point to where we should be the first one to notice. Every now and then, it might slip by, and you have to get counsel pulled to the side, or or a video come on, and the Lord calls something to happen, and he snap you out of it, man. Okay, but we should be constantly examining ourselves and being honest with ourselves, honest with our flaws, man, honest with our vulnerabilities, man. Okay, honest with weakness, man, and deal. You see? Because Satan will try to have you offload your insecurities on somebody else, offload your doubt on somebody else, offload your past trauma on somebody else, man. Because it's easy to put the blame, like, nigga, you need to change what you're doing. You're the reason. It's easy to try to put that on somebody else and try to say, well, look, critique them and say, look, you need to do this better. You need to do this better. You can do this. You should do, if this person was doing this better, then, you see, it's easy. Satan to try to afford, our selfishness, our insecurity, okay, and transfer it to someone else. Nah, man, it's something we got to deal with. That's our shit we got to deal with. Okay? 2 Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahushua HaMashiach is in you, except you be reprobates, man. Because we can get carried away so far, man, to, you can become a reprobate, man. Certain men, Satan have just carried them further and further and further away from reality to now they're reprobates. They're without judgment, man. Okay? And that's what we don't want to do, man. So, yeah, just wanted to get into that, and it's really a land back off the elder brother, Elder Zahab, the head of the camp down here in Mississippi. He had did a lesson going into that, being in our own head, man, and that's a war ground, and that's what Satan gonna make his last stand. And the time we coming into, the hour of temptation, okay, Satan gonna make his last stand for that inward agitation, man. He's gonna make a last stand to try to get us to doubt. to try to get us to be offended, okay, and to justify, losing the faith. You see? So we gotta be mindful of these things now, man. So when we get to the hour of temptation, man, hey, tell Satan, hey, flee, flee from us, man. Get thee behind thee, Satan. Even with Peter, Satan had jumped on Peter and tried to get Yahushua to not complete his mission, man. So Yahushua wasn't even talking to Peter. He was talking to Satan that was on Peter, man. Why he said that's why he didn't even address Peter. He addressed Satan that was on Peter, man. So Lord will, this was edifying, to the next time say Shalom. Kwam Yashala Baba Ba Shalom.